Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Good day, all of you out there in Radio Land. It is my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of Money Radio. This is the energy focus of the program on Leadership Podcast. We are discussing a topic today that says urgent need for fuel supply as scarcity worsens. Nigerians are feeling the pinch of fuel scarcity right now. And when I say the pinch, yes, it is a pinch. We'll put that into perspective. Yesterday, a friend of mine bought fuel, black market, those boys who sell in jerry cans, and the thing was unusually high, the price.
Yes.
And when asked, why is your fuel so high? Of course, this is Abuja we're talking about. And the seller said, this one we have to go to Kefi to buy. Kefi, if I'm not making a mistake, is around 2 hours from Abuja.
Yes, that's the next state.
Yes,
In
that's
Nasarawa.
Nasarawa State.
Nasarawa
Yeah, after
State.
Maraba and all of those places, you go to Kefi. So black marketers, those boys who sell in jerry cans, have to go to Kefi to get black market. You can see the evidence is there in Abuja that fuel is really scarce.
Yes.
Scarce remains scarce. Today, while coming to work, I saw a queue that was as long as a mile. Believe me, I know distances. It was as long as a mile. And that was the one that this road that goes to the next shop, right? Yeah, the road from this Nikon, going toward the next. Yes, it was all the way from Ministers Hill to Emadev, and who knows where, probably reaching up to Nipco. So it's that long, and that is being suffered many places in the country. Just yesterday, we got another information that fuel black market was selling 750 naira per liter in Katsina State. So all of this is actually telling on Nigerians. The NNPC and of course the authorities in the industry actually made a promise a few days ago that they would supply fuel. We want to discuss that. In the studio to discuss that with me is Anthony Uko. Isa, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm talking much today because this fuel scarcity is really touching. And I'm your host, Case Hammer. Before we go into the discussion, we want to play a short video and look at what promise the NNPC made in recent times, and then we'll discuss on that. Stay tuned.
Difficult period for us, and it's very important to update our customers and the members of the general public on the ongoing efforts by NNPC and other stakeholders, including you, to resolve the issues generated by the unfortunate supply and discharge of methanol-blended gasoline in some Nigerian depots. Precisely on the 20th of January, NNPC received a report from a quality inspector on the presence of emulsion particles in the PMS cargoes shipped to Nigeria from Antwerp, Belgium. NNPC investigations revealed the presence of methanol in 4 of the PMS cargoes imported by our DSTP suppliers, including MRS, Emadev High Energy, AY McKiffy, Britannia U Consortium, Oando, and also our own company, Dick Oil. Cargo quality certificates issued at Load Port, which is Antwerp, Belgium, by Amspec Belgium, indicates that the gasoline complied with Nigerian specifications. The NNPC quality inspectors, including GMO, SGS, JOCHEM, and G&G, all world-class surveyors and inspectors, conducted tests on this before discharge and also showed that the gasoline met Nigerian specifications. As a standard practice for all PMS imports to Nigeria, the cargoes were equally certified by inspection agent appointed by the midstream and downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority as products that met Nigerian specification. It is important to note that the usual quality inspection protocol employed in both load port in Belgium and our discharge ports in Nigeria do not include the test for percentage of methanol content, and therefore additive was not detected by our quality inspectors. In order to prevent the distribution of the petrol, we have ordered the quarantine of all unevacuated volumes and the holding back of all.
That was the Group GMD of NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari. And before now, the NNPC, when this unfortunate situation started unfolding, they said they had 20 days of supply. And between those two, the 20 days, they will be able to replenish what we call the dirty fuel.
Yes.
We don't see that supply. It's clear we don't see the supply. The supply is just not there.
It's not there because if we look at it from last week Monday, when it became when the scarcity became very obvious, to today, it's not even up to 2 weeks.
It's not up to 2 weeks.
It's not up to 2 weeks. So if according to what was said, there was 20 days supply on ground, then it means we wouldn't have even recorded any form of scarcity.
Yeah.
So somehow a whole lot of what the GMD said there doesn't seem to add up.
They don't add up.
It just does not seem to add up. He also mentioned that the fuel, the high methanol fuel was imported by 4 companies.
Yes, including a subsidiary of
the NNPC, Duke Oil. The most interesting part is that the entire 4 companies, including its own subsidiary, they have disowned.
Of course, they said it's not their fault.
They all said they didn't import it. So,
and of course, if they did import it, that is just my little observation, and I don't want to be forthright about it. But if those companies did import and they are denying, there would have been proof.
Of course.
And they would have been sanctioned by now.
Of course.
Have they been sanctioned?
None that I'm aware of.
I'm not aware of any.
Okay.
So you see, this whole thing is just shrouded in secrecy. It's in some kind of umbra, some darkness. People are not getting the facts. Number one, the 2-week supply that we were sure of.
20 days supply, which is
20 days.
almost
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah, it's not there. It's just not there. We are seeing it. We are the ones feeling the pinch. Who brought in this fuel? We don't know yet. So what will these people say again that will actually appeal to people's conscience? Okay, so these people are saying the truth, and we should respect the supply of fuel so and so time. So you see, when
he also said something else, that the inspection prior to now does not check the percentage of methanol.
I wonder how.
Then what do they inspect? What do they inspect?
It's getting funny. But the issue right now is actually getting supply. There is the huge demand there, and we need supply. Fuel is in scarce supply. Fuel is in scarce supply. You go from filling station to filling station, you don't see anything. And it seems like the black market boys are the ones that are having their field day. And of course, I don't understand why the NNPC wouldn't crack down on such people, because it is looking very clear that these people, they have a special arrangement with the fuel attendants, well, it's the black market boys. They have special arrangement with the fuel. In fact, they are giving priority attention when you enter the filling stations to buy fuel. They are giving priority attention. You enter the the filling station, and you see them. They are lined up, and they are giving fuel. They are served fuel Whereas,
First,
before
before
the
the
cars.
cars.
And of course, you have to, out of frustration, you have to go and negotiate with them. Right now, 5 liters of fuel is selling for 3,500 naira in Abuja. At least I bought fuel this morning, and that was how much it was selling for. Or I asked for fuel, and that's how much it was selling for. There is actually no how much before now. 5 liters would about 1,000 naira will give you up to 5 liters or more.
Yes.
Yes,
More than 5 liters.
yes. So these guys are making a kill, and it's just not the boys who are selling black market in jerry cans. It's the fuel attendants, management. It seems like nothing is being done. Nothing is being done to at least assuage the pain of Nigerians. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we want to discuss more on this. Stay tuned, listeners.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back, viewers. We're talking about meeting Nigerians' fuel supply right now because there is acute shortage of the product. In the studio discussing that issue with me is Mr. Anthony Uko, and I'm your host Case Hammer. So we were talking about Nigerians actually suffering. You know, in times like this, emergencies do occur.
Yes.
And when emergencies occur, there is need for quick response. And when you don't have that kind of quick response, things happen. I'm talking about unfortunate events happen. People may want to get to the hospital as fast as possible. These things don't happen. People may want to, just anything. So these essential products really need to be available at all time. They need to be available at all time. What is the federal government doing to make sure that fuel is available? Because as I said earlier, these fuel attendants are having a field day in collaboration with the jerrycan sellers. It is clear. These are the people who rule the day. If you wouldn't mind, they are the ones that are ruling the day. So what can the federal government do to ensure that there is adequate fuel supply?
Of course, like few days after this unfortunate incident of the adulterated fuel became public knowledge, the NNPC and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Agency, they came up to say, of course, they were doing everything possible to ensure that there is that everything returns to normal. And this is already over a week after that promise, after those agencies made the promises, and rather than seeing the situation under control, the situation seems to be
It's worsening.
is worsening.
It's worsening.
The scarcity is actually worsening, and most of the motorists and commuters, they actually began to feel the real impact of the scarcity this. Having to buy from the black marketers.
Exactly.
And if they do that, of course, they will naturally increase fares. And there doesn't seem to be any succor for the common man. They still have to go out. They still have to go to their markets, to their work, and all that. So now the question is, how long does it take the NNPC and the Nigerian Midstream Downstream Regulatory Authority to react in an emergency situation like this?
Instead, we are getting information that don't add up.
Oh,
Now, so not to cut you short, let's face the fact. Let's be factual. Let's speak to truth. How many liters were imported? This dirty fuel, 300 million. If I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
300 million.
According to the data.
According to the data, that was supposed to be supply of maybe up to a month or probably more. 300 million. We don't either. I can't say, but it was
No.
supposed to be supply.
Going by the daily consumption data
Yes.
that is being reeled out,
Yeah.
that shouldn't have even taken up to a week.
Okay. Yes. Because according to them, we
consume up to 100, or let's even say 50.
50.
So 300 should have been on the supply for a week.
Yes.
So if for the past 1 week
We have not gotten
we have not gotten fresh
Something is
supply,
fishy.
then something is happening
Yes,
somewhere.
something is happening.
The entire scenario here is
It's probably the secrecy.
is a reeking of inefficiency. Also,
Yes. Look, there are many places to import fuel from. Our neighbors are here. They have fuel refineries.
Of
The Ivory
course.
Coast. At the time, this country was actually importing 65% of our fuel needs from the Ivory Coast, because they have efficient refineries. There are refineries in Ghana. There are refineries in neighboring countries. There needs to be something done in an emergency situation. We don't need to be hearing things that don't add up. When we hear things that don't add up, it leaves everybody confused. What's the way forward?
The way forward is for the authorities to act. Nigerians need fuel, and they need it urgently. They need it. In fact, they need the fuel as of yesterday. So,
during morning hours, during rush hours, and I know it's just not here in Abuja. Lagos must even be worse. During rush hours, you see people. In fact, those guys must be making a kill right now. The public transporters. They
yes,
must be making a kill.
and the recent reports coming in now is that the BRT service in Lagos State is stopping operations for now.
Why?
Because they don't have fuel to operate.
Oh.
And you know what that will mean for
I see
for Lagos.
throngs of people trekking. That's healthy. That's healthy. People are
laughing. It's actually not funny.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
The authorities, please, Nigerians, we need you to react to this situation, to be proactive about doing something about it. For over 1 week now, the promises have been, you've made promises, you've reassured. Please let that reassurance become something tangible that Nigerians can see.
Let the light stop. You made a salient point. 300 million liters of fuel. There's supposed to be just 1 week disruption. We're supposed to be seeing fuel, fresh supplies of fuel, clean fuel coming into the cities right now. If we are not seeing that, then something must be fishy. I want to appeal to the federal government to do something, and do something very fast. People are suffering. There are health emergencies everywhere. There are just everything. This issue may even affect hospitals.
Of course.
Because they depend on fuel to run their generators, to carry out operations, and all of that. Where you have undersupply of electricity. Of course, the hospitals depend on their generators. And when those generators are not fueled, they don't work. People's lives are in danger. People's health are in danger. There needs to be action right now. Yes, let the federal government act. That's the way we want to call it a day. It's been nice having you on Morning Radio. You have been on the energy focus of the program, Leadership Podcast. In the studio with me has been Mr. Anthony Uko discussing the sorry issue of unnecessary fuel shortage in the country. I've been your host, K. Simon. I want to say thank you very much for being with us. I want to say thanks to also our producers. Thanks to you who have been following us loyally. We always see the pleasure having you with us. It is because of you we exist. Until we meet next time for another bumper edition, have a nice day. Stay safe.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.